Good afternoon. And devils trying to steal it. Y'all know, to the one and all I give thanks and blessings to and from the Most High, Sacred Holy of Holies, Christos. And I thank the deceivers and all the fake angels of torment for their attempts to remove themselves from the picture. Today I had an idea for a discussion about my little portion of my history that happened to be my own personal mind control apparatus that I inherited from mainstream media. First, I would like to say I'm here in the beautiful cold water paradise in the West Coast, where when there's blue in the sky, it will be about 72 degrees every afternoon at this time. But for the last several moons, we've had to deal with some type of chemicals being dumped that have made it maybe in the neighborhood of 20 to 30 degrees cooler. You know, it makes one wonder if the dark ones are attempting to freeze out the wild people. And I, in my reckless experimentation in this body, had to try to torture myself by residing in a pup tent in that time, which is rather a horrible idea, which I will have to spend some time healing from, but I'll forgive myself. And that brings me to what my discussion was going to be about. I spent 2 hours listening to Elena Freeland talk about the 600-page book she wrote about this subject, and I would suggest even go to the Geoengineering Watch website at YouTube and listen to the first 1 minute of each video at least, just so that you get a tiny taste of what I was discussing from an authentic researcher's perspective. But in a somewhat vaguely related topic, or let's say of the whole family of the Dark Ones, my operator was a man who did his black magic as an African American Illuminati guy about 10 to 12 years before I was born. His name was Barry Gordy, and he ran a record label called Motown. And I'm sure all of my listeners are familiar. Well, can't help myself. The idea of being obsessed with one person. As a double Pisces moon and rising in my natal birth chart, I felt extremely controlled by Illuminati romanticism. Hollywood promoted in the 1960s, because those songs were so extremely charming and beautiful, some of them. And they had all the greatest elements of pop music, but yet the mind control shtick is all about obsessive love. And the idea that Hollywood gives you is that obsession is love, and to be possessed by your lover, to have them control all of you, and for you to control all of them. The vampiric ideal is what you want. And so, through my existence in this body and my lessons I've learned, roughly 10 years ago, it came to a screaming halt when I realized that, I was probably actually going through what I realize now is called a love bite. And check out Eve Lorgan's material. I haven't read the book, but I've watched her speak, and if you want to learn what that's all about. So it took me probably several years of reading ancient Buddhist texts to gain the forgiveness for these experiences, and 1 year of drinking pints of beer every day in the middle of it. And in the end of it, I have to say that I gave up drinking, and one of the main things I remember from reading so many ancient or several ancient Buddhist texts, maybe a half dozen to a dozen, was that they would constantly stress in the Mahayana, in the ancient tantric yogis' ways, was to always have acceptance. So as I've said in other previous videos, we are asked to accept the unacceptable here. And so the fake engineered weather and what's happening to our loved ones' bodies, and we're asked to accept the unacceptable. And what else yet can we do if we wish to have peace? And so for me, the beginning of my peace and my attainment of being ability to be able to handle human life even, and was to let go of this disgusting idea that I was completely filled with as a young teenager and 20-something, and even in single digits, I was obsessed with young little girls, and several different times, even starting at the age of 5 years old. So when I was obsessed with this girl at 5 years old, that just shows you that, it's part of my makeup, but yet, is it? Or could it be that all of that was a program, a learned idea? Because since I began to have more of the lifestyle of a yogi, Gnostic monk, or some kind of Western spoiled hermit man-child, with the actual basic government contract to figure out something that seems to be impossible to figure out to most people, such as healing several deadly diseases that seem to be unable to be destroyed by the deceivers, big pharma, which often complicates such issues. I'm supremely thankful to the so-called white hats there, and the divine beings that have helped me, and I even thank the Zetas. I thank all of the demons and dark lords that have tried to control me, because the cliche is actually true in this case. They have only made me stronger. Surveilling me right now, attempting to curtail the freedom, to remove me from the picture. I want to give thanks to the entities, whether they were human trolls or AI demons or what have you, that perhaps work with some MDs or Cruzio Network officiales, or some Illuminati people that work there, that actually for twice now have not allowed me to go online at the Staff of Life Market and even the Capitola Library. And I want to give thanks to them, because I want all of the deceivers and all those who try to interfere with my message here to know that the soul Helios light is where I'm coming from and where I'm going. I receive messages, and I've received songs and blessings from the sun, and you will never block the solar Helios consciousness out of my heart and my third eye or my crotch or my belly solar plexus, because the solar Christ Helios is permanently lodged there from all my sun baths and all of my meditations. And so there's nothing you can do to destroy the Christ consciousness and the oneness that exists already inherently in those who have already accepted it in their hearts. Okay, and then I was one of them before this lifetime, and I came to the West Coast. I came to this town almost 19 years and 2 weeks ago, over 19 years ago, and about a mile from my Chiron line and my astrocartography chart. So I've become this Scorpio wounded healer archetypally. I have had to feel the effects of the Hadron Collider in Santa Clara pointed at me and all of the black magic rituals all around us here because I'm an empath. I have had to feel the effects of every student and teacher at UCSC being forced to take the inoculation. And what did that do to my relationship to the entity we call UCSC? Well, about 6 years ago, on occasion here and there, several times, I would discuss Buddhism and shamanism at the UCSC trailer park and have several graduate students as well as travelers sit there and listen with rapture because I was a passionate 30-something scholar myself, and walk away learning with joy. They had a drum kit in there. Sometimes I would rock out, go and steal a shower. And so within several years between then and now and the lockdown, they had taken away all the old moldy trailers and offered the students the option to purchase them for $500, taking all their paper mache sculpture and the broderie out and all the decorations out, and put in brand new trailers and locked the thing up and took out all the musical instruments. And I noticed particularly after they all were forced to take the experiment, it would just be inappropriate to speak about the Buddha or about shamanic teachings to these people because they were there to perhaps to earn a bunch of money, uh, to be a cog in the beast machine and get wealthy and try to make a good living. Or hopefully, I mean, maybe several of them are there to make awesome video games and get rich because it's probably the best place to do that. But beyond that, I don't know what to say to any of them, honestly. But what I want to say to the world is, and myself, is after meeting someone several days ago who perhaps may be a soulmate that, due to their alcoholism and other factors, I found that I had to remain platonic. And so I just want to say that the Motown concept in my head leads back to this other idea that I've often told people since I was born again and had enlightened experiences. And that's totally related to this brainwashing and mind control from the Hollywood 60s Motown songs, and which is like what comes with this idea of perception is the long list of Mr. or Mrs. Right. Okay. And again, another thing that my old friend David Bliss said, I paint myself into a corner. And he meant with that list. So I say to the world, if you really want a sexual partner, a kiss, or even a hug, or even a platonic friend, or even someone to talk to, say you consider yourself an elite, a wealthy, a landlord, someone in control, or, but yet you're a good-natured person, or you would like to become friendly. The Buddha's four immeasurables: friendliness, joy, equanimity, and compassion. If you practice these, you may learn to attain new friends and more joy. And if you learn to get rid of that list of Mr. or Mrs. Rights as much as possible, or whittle it down, you will find there are many people that you love. They may be wrinkled and old and diseased or homeless or a millionaire, they're a billionaire, even that you don't like. Maybe Elon Musk has employees that would love him if they knew this philosophy, man. But yet, if they judge him or belittle him or feel that he doesn't uphold the list, then he won't make the cut. So the point is that let go of the list and attain happiness. Peace and love and thanks and blessings and oneness, joy to all.